Hi, my name is Joe Lowery, sound designer and producer based in Los Angeles, California, and welcome to another episode of Sips and Synths. Before we get started, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so we can keep bringing you awesome content. In this episode, we're going to be recreating one of the most famous intros by the Beatles. Let me know if this sounds familiar. If you guessed Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, you guessed right. Well, filming this episode, I will be drinking coffee from Dune Coffee Roasters, and it's called Santa Barbara. I actually bought this, ironically, in Santa Barbara. It's from Honduras. It's a washed geisha with notes of apple, nectarine, and hibiscus. It's very juicy. All right. Let me tell you how the Beatles got this sound on Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Paul McCartney played a Lowery, or is it Lowery, organ called the DS0-1. Information on this organ is a little hard to come by, but what I could figure out is that it uses something called a flip-flop circuit to create square waves. It had presets that you could toggle on and off, and you can mix and match them. So one preset could be a guitar, another a harpsichord, and each preset had its own filter settings and vibrato. Organ actually had two different speakers, a Leslie speaker that you could flip on and off, or just a regular speaker. Legend has it that Paul McCartney mixed three different presets together, a vibra harp, a guitar, and a music box. Since we actually don't know what presets Paul McCartney mixed together to get this sound, I'm going to use my ear. So let's cross the streams and roast some beans. Cheers. Let me first play you the actual Beatles song real quick. I'm going to look at this sound as three distinct parts. The square waves and their filter and vibrato settings, the tube amp section of the organ. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but there was a tube amp section before the speaker, and then the speaker. Okay. First, I'm going to start with a square wave because that is what the flip-flop circuit is doing. So I'm going to extend the release of this voice a little bit. And let's hear how that sounds. Okay, nothing special. I don't know exactly what filters were available on the Lowery. I can't say it because my name's the same. The Lowery. I'm just going to call it the Lowery. The Lowery organ. I don't know if there was a bandpass filter, high pass, but I'm sure there was definitely a low pass. So I'm going to use a low pass filter with just a little resonance. Okay. I'm going to start there. I'm also going to have the sustain down and a long decay, so it sounds kind of like a piano. When you hit a piano, there's a long decay down to nothing, essentially. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to bring in the second square wave, bump it up an octave, and I'm going to use a different filter setting, slightly different. So I'm going to disengage this, turn this on for oscillator B. I'm going to mute oscillator A so we can just hear B right now. I'm going to use a low pass filter again. Okay, let's see how they sound together. All right, I hear a little vibrato going on, so I'm going to add vibrato to both of these oscillators. Too much. I'm going to add a macro here so we can control the amount on both at the same time. I think I want the vibrato to just start from the main pitch, go up and down instead of starting at the main pitch and go down and up. Okay. And I'm not changing the levels on both of these because I'm assuming on the organ you couldn't adjust the different levels of the presets, so they're going to stay the same. Okay, next in the signal chain of the organ in my head is the square wave oscillators going into the tube section. So I'm going to select warm tube, crank this up, and just hear how this sounds. I'm going to bring down some of the high end, roll off the high end a little bit. I just want it to break up a little bit. I'm also going to roll down the mids and the bass a little bit, and then bump up the highs here in the tube amp section. Okay, now we're moving on to the speaker emulation. I think this is one of the most important aspects of getting these kind of sounds, and you can use any kind of impulse response that just represents a tiny vintage speaker. So I'm using this plugin by Overloud. I think it's called Theu. I have no idea how to say that, but I have this Jensen vintage speaker. So I'm going to load that. If you open this up, this is really awesome. You can see the EQ curve of the impulse response of the speaker, and you can actually change the microphone. I'm going to change this to this ribbon mic here, the M160. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. Let's hear how that sounds. All right, I think it's a little dark. I'm going to mess with these filters settings just a little more to get it closer to the sound. So for filter 1, for square wave 1, the lower octave, I want to bring this down a little bit. And then for filter 2, the upper octave square, I'm going to lower this a little more. And turn up the resonance. Okay. Okay. I'm going to take off some of the attack on my envelope for both of these. Okay, so here's the Valhalla reverb I want to use. I want to use a chamber sound, and apparently you can get close to a chamber sound using Valhalla plate. I'm just going to turn the mix down, add some pre-delay, turn the decay down. I'm just going to mess with this a little bit. Let's hear how that sounds with the speaker and the reverb. I think it's a little too much break up. I'm going to roll this down off of the tube amp sim and then bump up a little more treble. All right, let's hear how that sounds with everything together. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Sips and Synths. Please, again, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, send it to your estranged brother who lives in Philadelphia, and I'll see you next time.